Chapter 12. Fatal Curiosity. For several days, Gyges was still at the palace in Sardis. Like a bird trapped in a gilded cage, he was treated with respect, but he always felt the eyes of the courtiers on him, prying, sometimes hostile. The people of the palace did not understand what a shepherd was doing within the royal walls. What merit could he have to stay close to the king? The question hung in the air like a shadow, and Gyges began to feel the burden of isolation. Candaules, however, seemed increasingly drawn to his presence. He often called him to him, spoke to him about the gods, about destiny, about the signs of the times. Sometimes he asked him again about the tomb and the ring, as if he wanted to hear the story told differently each time. On other evenings, he shared more intimate thoughts with him, as with a friend. But one night, the king called him to a small room, away from the eyes of the court. The lamps burned weakly, and the air smelled of incense and wine.Candaules' gaze burned strangely, like that of a man possessed by an obsessive thought. "Gyges," he said, "I would like to tell you a secret. Something that no one has ever seen before, except me." The shepherd felt a lump in his throat. He didn't know what to expect, but the king's tone did not allow for resistance. "You see," Candaules continued, "people say that I have been blessed with the most beautiful wife in all of Lydia. There is no other woman like her. Her beauty is so rare that the gods themselves could be jealous. And yet," he said, lifting his chin, "no one takes my word for it. They murmur, they doubt, as if I were exaggerating." The king took a step towards Gyges and looked him straight in the eye. "But you will be a witness. You will see the truth with your own eyes." Gyges started. He understood her intention in an instant, and a shiver of horror ran through his body. "Great king, I cannot," he whispered, in a barely audible voice. "It is a profanation. The queen is your wife. She is sacred to the eyes of others." But Candaules laughed briefly, with a trace of contempt. "It is not a profanation, Gyges, it is proof. If I order you to look at her, it means that the gods themselves are witnesses to my oath. You are only confirming what I already know, that no other woman stands by his side." In Gyges' eyes, the king's words seemed madness. But at the same time, his tone left no room for refusal. He understood that resistance would not only be an insult, but also a danger. "Tonight," Candaules said, "you will stay hidden behind the door. When the queen enters our room and undresses, you will see with your own eyes." Gyges felt his heart freeze. He was caught in a terrible trap. If he accepted, he would commit sacrilege and tie his fate to a dirty secret. If he refused, he could attract the king's wrath and even death. When night fell over the palace, Gyges was led through the dark corridors to the sovereign's private chambers. A heavy silence reigned everywhere. The king himself sat him down next to a large wooden door, slightly ajar, through which he could see part of the room. "Wait," Candaules whispered to him, "don't move or make a sound." Then he entered the room, leaving Gyges alone, his heart beating like it was breaking his chest. Beyond the door, he could hear the king's footsteps, his quiet voice, then the sound of lighter, more graceful steps. Queen Prying had entered. Gyges felt his knees weaken. An unseen force pushed him to close his eyes, to run, but another force, the king's command, and perhaps his own curiosity, held him rooted to the spot. Through the crack in the door, he saw the queen's silhouette, tall, slender, with a face bathed in light. The woman seemed detached from a divine vision. Her hair fell in black waves over her shoulders, and every movement had the grace of a goddess. Gyges felt the blood rise to his cheeks. He was ashamed, but he could not take his eyes off her. The queen slowly let go of her robes, as if each layer were a revealed secret. He did not know whether to tremble, of guilt or amazement. For a moment, he forgot that he was a shepherd, forgot that he was in a king's palace. He even forgot about the ring. All he saw was forbidden beauty, a beauty that even mortal eyes should not have contemplated. But that beauty was not only splendor, but also power. Gyges understood, perhaps without wanting to, that the woman he was looking at was not only the king's wife, but a queen endowed with a force of seduction and authority that could change destinies. And yet, in the midst of that scene, Gyges could not ignore something else. The feeling that the queen knew that her gaze, even if she could not see him, was passing through the door and burning him. As the queen headed for the bed, she stopped for a moment and turned suddenly, her eyes fixed on the crack in the door. Gyges drew a breath, feeling that he had been discovered. Second that seemed an eternity passed. The queen said nothing, but a cold, dangerous spark lit up in her gaze. Then she turned her back and continued as if nothing had happened. But Gyges knew he had seen. Later, when it was all over and he was released from his hiding place, he met the king again. Candaules laughed delightedly, with a triumphant air. "Well, Gyges, have you seen it now with your own eyes? Wasn't I right?" Gyges did not answer immediately. He was afraid to say anything. Finally, he said in a low voice, "Yes, my lady. She is more beautiful than any woman I have ever seen." The king burst into a satisfied laugh and patted her on the shoulder in a friendly way, as if she had shared with him his greatest triumph. But Gyges knew that something had broken that night. The king's curiosity, his madness in exposing his wife to a stranger, had given birth to a danger. Queen Pyrrhusane was no ordinary woman. She was a queen, and that look, cold and piercing, told him that she would never forget the affront. For the first time, Gyges truly felt that the ring on his finger and everything it had brought into his life was not a gift, but a burden. He remembered the words of the elders. The gods take revenge not on those who err in ignorance, but on those who cross forbidden thresholds. And he, even pushed by the king's will, had crossed a threshold from which there was no return. That night was the beginning of the end. Gyges fell asleep with difficulty, tormented by guilt and fear. In his dream, the queen's eyes followed him, burning and merciless. He knew that between him, the king and the queen, a web of destiny was now being woven, stronger than any human will, and deep down, he felt that soon, everything that had begun as a game of curiosity would turn into a tragedy of royal proportions.